So we are doing the Bhagavad Gita sessions, of course, healing and completion. We'll start with the prayer to Lord Shri Krishna. Om Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsa Chanuramadhanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. So basically what it means, I salute unto you, Bhagavan, Krishna, Guru, Master of the world, Son of Vasudeva, Supreme Bliss of Devaki, Destroyer of Kamsa and Chanura. I salute to you. That's what it means. So let us all salute. Whatever miracle or reality you want to cause for yourself, declare to yourself, a salute to you, Sri Lord Krishna. Just by hearing this, whatever powerful cognitions we are sharing, let it give a right click to you and make the reality happen. Pray that, okay? Click should be happening. Small recap. We were speaking about how Krishna was a Purna avatar, how trust plays a major role, and how an enlightened spiritual master is a person who creates a formula to reproduce his inner world experiences, but an incarnation directly gives you the experience itself without any practice of any formula, who can directly give the experience without even using the formula. And we were also speaking about Shastra, Stotra and Sutra. Now I'll continue from there. We were speaking how intellectual people react, how devotional people react, how being level people react. We were sharing. So understand, we go through the stotras, understand we need to internalize them. What is internalizing? Which is analyzing the truth for the sake of internalizing it, not for the sake of rejecting it. Please be very clear. When we go through the Puranas, the epic historical happenings, we need to understand the spirit and truth of the Puranas. See, many times when we hear anything, right, we'll be waiting. What is it? Which part of it we need to reject? We don't even know we'll be doing that. The first thing we do is know. So understand there is a big difference between fact and truth. See, we need to understand the spirit and truth of the Puranas. When we hear something not a no, we should try to understand it, the truth behind it. So there is a big difference between fact and truth. Puranas, our epics, are truths and facts also. All Puranas of Sanatana Dharma are history, not mythological stories. Puranas have been wrongly translated as mythological stories or high stories. They are not. They are not high stories. They are histories. They are his stories. They are what? Paramashiva stories, isn't it? They are the true history of Bharata. They are showing us, leading us to the truth. Only truth can lead us to the truth. Cooked up stories cannot lead us to truth. So while understanding stotras, we should understand and internalize the spirit and truth of the stotras. Please listen. Sri Krishna can relate to people in all three levels. The way that he is born, the way he expresses all powers and completion from his birth, and the way he expresses such beautiful, sweet romance. If you are intellectual, he gives you the Gita. He is Gita Krishna. But if you are emotional, he is Radha Krishna, the beloved of Radha. He can sing and dance, he can play, he can give you the ultimate emotional fulfillment. Understand, making each one feel that he belongs to them is the basic need for the romance to happen. When we feel he belongs to us, that is when the basic thing happens. So making every person feel that way, that he belongs to them. And he was able to do that. And he has the ability to handle all the anger and jealousy of people who were not able to raise themselves to his level. See, even to understand, and he's reaching out, even to receive, we should be able to raise to his level to receive. He even took all the attacks, anger, jealousy of people who are not able to raise themselves to his level. Sri Krishna offers the truth in Dhyana Yoga, the path of meditation in the Gita. When you see the way he radiates knowledge for intellectual people, love, romance, intelligence, and strategy planning. So Sri Krishna is the unimaginable expression of ultimate consciousness. Krishna is complete fulfillment. He is such an embodiment of completion. The very life of Krishna is a technique that leads you to enlightenment. The body language of an enlightened person is a sutra. Sutra means what? Technique. Krishna is the being whose body language straight away leads you to enlightenment. Understand? The Sri Rama will lead you to straight away to dharma, righteousness. If you follow what Sri Rama did, you will have dharma. But with Krishna, you will have straight away moksha, liberation. The power of Krishna's presence and the amount of opposition that he has to go through due to his pure love, his pure energy, his pure intelligence, even after creating his own kingdom at Dwarikapuri, the sacrifice that he does to establish dharma, the way he lives dharma and protects dharma, and he's such a powerful strategy planner that when needed, he even escapes from the war field. That's why he's called Ranchod. The space of completion that Krishna holds and the space from which he operates. Please understand that when you operate from the space of completion, whatever you do is Leela, a divine play. It is not at all a boring life. Krishna is the first incarnation who demonstrates the concept of Leela on planet Earth. He is the first incarnation who demonstrates that life can be lived from the space of completion. Life can be lived from the space of joy. Krishna is the embodiment of joy, embodiment of bliss, embodiment of life. Whole Gita is about Krishna only. When we experience the being of Krishna, when we understand Krishna, his very being is a technique. His very life is a technique. That is why there is a beautiful word in the Bhagavatam, Hindu epic glorifying devotion. There is a beautiful word in Bhagavatam called Leela Dhyana. Means just remembering the Leela, the playful pranks of Krishna is Dhyana, meditation. And I tell you, this is the highest meditation. No other incarnation is given the word Leela Dhyana. No other incarnation is praised like this. Just remembering his acts is meditation. Just remembering his Leela, divine acts, we are led to completion and liberation. And incarnation's Leela or pastimes always leads you to completion. Your past always leads you to incompletion. But incarnation's Leela always, past Leela always leads you to completion. See, if you constantly remember what you did when you were a child, you will be in more and more in incompletion. But if you constantly remember what Sri Krishna did when he was a child, you will be more and more in the space of completion. Remembering the incarnation's pastimes Leela Dhyana creates more and more completion and a higher space. Swamiji said there are two techniques which are really high in the meditation thing. One is Leela Dhyana and one is practicing the presence of God. These two things. Practicing the presence of God means just like living as though He is living with you. Means really feeling the presence as though they are living, like how Sri Ramakrishna Paramahamsa has lived with Devi Kali. He literally lived. That is practicing presence of God. And the other technique is this Leela Dhyana, which I'm talking about. Just remembering His Leela, divine acts. That is, it is the highest meditation. It will lead us to completion and liberation. See, beautifully Krishna says, you cannot forget me. I'll tell you a story. See, I'll tell you a story. The great sages were once disturbed by the singing and dancing of the gopikas. Gopikas means cowherdesses. Right? Who are Krishna's playmates. They thought, we sages are sitting with closed eyes, trying to meditate with long faces for a long time and nothing is happening. These gopikas are so happy, singing and dancing. What is really happening in that place? So what these sages do? They went to Krishna's birthplace, Vrindavan, to see what was happening. They came down to see the gopikas, but the gopikas did not receive them well, nor did they care to listen what the sages had to say. They were just happy, completely fulfilled, in total completion, in their remembrance of Krishna. They neither received them well, nor did they pay any attention. So the sages asked, what is this? We are great sages. We have come all the way to see you. And you guys, you are not even receiving us properly. One Gopika asked, sages? Means what? Who are they? The sage told, we meditate on His feet in our heart, explained one of the sages. Then the Gopikas said, meditate on His feet? We are playing with His entire form. Come, we will show you. You say you are trying to remember Him. We are trying to forget Him. He's so much in our being, we are unable to do our daily work. We are unable to forget Him. He has completely filled up our inner space. We are unable to do our normal work. Many people ask Swamiji, Swamiji, should we remember you? Should we take you as our master? Swamiji says, never make that mistake. If I am your master, you will not be able to forget me. That is the real scale to know if I am your master or not. If you must remember me with effort, then I am not your master. Forget me. Carry on doing your work. Carry on with your life. Understand? If you must remember something consciously with effort, it is ugly. Only when you can't forget, only then devotion happens in you. These gopikas say, we are unable to forget Him. So beautiful, isn't it? Such beautiful. We are unable to forget Him. That is how we should be. To be like our whole being waiting for that satsang. When I will see Him, when I will see Him. Let me define bhaktas, devotees. Bhaktas are the ones who experience completion out of the emotion which happens due to the higher consciousness, leela or pastimes. See, they are the only people who understand the amount of completion that bhakti, devotion can bring in our system. It is altogether a different channel. Krishna also appeals to the being level people who are continually aspiring, seeking and experience straight away. See, understand? I spoke about how intellectual people and then how these bhaktas. But he appeals to being level people also. Just by his will, Krishna can give the experience of enlightenment, eternal bliss to Arjuna. He can give the divine experience of Advaita, infinity to Arjuna, by just showing him his cosmic form, Vishwarupa, Darshan. Krishna shows that he is in everybody, that everybody is in him. Whether we are intellectually oriented or emotionally oriented or being level oriented, we can find our completion in Krishna. When intellect ripens, it becomes intelligence. When emotion ripens, it becomes devotion. Whenever being ripens, we become enlightened, complete. All these three enlightenment spaces of completion, being, devotion, and intelligence, express at their peak in Krishna. That is why Krishna can fulfill and complete very being, every being. That is why he is called Jagat Guru, master of the whole universe. Just through his logic, he has not convinced us about his greatness. Not just with his logic he convinced us. No. The way Krishna handles every moment of his life, the way he lives, every moment of his life, the way he holds himself, the way he expresses himself, he has stolen our hearts. Krishna is the Lord of our hearts. That is why we are convinced, not because he convinces with his logic or anything. One man in India, he said to Swamiji, I am a Jagat Guru. Swamiji was surprised and he wondered, what is this? It is like having a small hotel on the roadside and naming it the Sheraton. How can the roadside small hotel be a Sheraton hotel? Same way, one guy having little bit of Shakti or whatever, how can he claim he is Jagat Guru? So Swamiji asked him, Jagat Guru? What do you mean by that word? Do you know the qualifications of a Jagat Guru? He said, I have one disciple and his name is Jagat. I am his Guru. So understand, Jagat Guru does not mean just the Guru of one person named Jagat. Jagat Guru leads the whole universe into the divine consciousness. So understand, Krishna is the Jagat Guru. Krishna appeals to every being. He has created keys to open all locks. He has created methods to give the spiritual experience to the whole of humanity, to people who have come, people who are here, and those yet to come. He has created the technology even for the future generations. He is a Nitya Ananda, eternal bliss. Gita is the ultimate scripture, Shastra, Stotra, and Sutra. Krishna is beyond scriptures, please understand. We can't speak about any dimension of Krishna. He is the whole. Swamiji says that whenever we try to describe any of his dimensions, the words look so futile. He's endowed with Ananta Kalyana Guna, his innumerable spiritual energies and infinite auspicious qualities. See, when Krishna says, Nainam Chintanti Shastrani, Nainam Dahati Pavakaha, Na Chainam Kledayante, Apona Sosyati Marutaha, means weapons do not cleave, nor fire burns the Atman, water does not wet, and wind does not dry it. When he talks about the basic truths of life and spirituality, it is Shastra. He's giving intellectual knowledge of completion. And when Arjuna says, O Lord, I bow down to you from the front, from behind, from all sides, you are infinitely mighty, pervading everything. You are the ultimate. Arjuna is expressing the stotra. He is praising the Lord with his devotion. Krishna says, Yam yam vapi, smaran bhavam, tyajate, ante, kalevaram, tam tam evaiti, kaunteya, sada tadbhava, bhavitaha. Means what Krishna is saying in this verse, whatever your state of thought is when you leave this body, kalevaram means body. Whatever your state of thought is when you leave this body, absorbed in that thought, that alone you will attain without fail, O Arjuna. Understand again? Whatever your state of thought is when you leave this body, absorbed in that thought, that alone you attain without fail, O Arjuna. Here, Krishna provides Arjuna the technique, the most powerful sutra that helps anyone attain and create his reality as what he wants to. Bhagavad Gita is the only complete scripture that combines the wisdom of Shastras, the depth of feeling connection of stotras, and the practical reality of sutras. It is a means to enlightenment for all, delivered by the Master of Masters, by the incarnation of incarnations, Bhagavan Sri Krishna. In Arjuna's, I'm speaking about, in this first chapter of Gita, Arjuna Vishada Yoga, we are seeing Arjuna, the most courageous fighter amongst the Pandava princes, the darling of all his teachers, and the close friend of Krishna. He is in deep dilemma, deep incompletion. Arjuna is both the yogi and the kshatriya. Don't take him light. Arjuna is a yogi. He is called Gudakesha. Do you know? Arjuna has 10 names. One of his name is Gudakesha. Gudakesha means the one who is liberated from sleep. One who went beyond sleep. As a yogi, he is deeply spiritual, centered and complete within himself, and deeply aware and integrated to his moral and ethical obligations. As a yogi, he is that. As the kshatriya, Arjuna is the warrior leader, empowered with responsibility, ready to avenge, ready to impose order and control for protecting and upholding dharma. He is the typical kshatriya prince. Only with enlightenment, it is possible to continuously, consistently proceed with both these personalities of inner completion as a yogi and outer responsibility to enrich as a warrior leader without faltering. It's not a joke. Balancing both and being integrated to both. But such Arjuna, Gudakesha Arjuna, such warrior, he falters as he faces his enemies on the battlefield of the great Mahabharata war. His dilemma is unfolding. Understand? Such yogi, such kshatriya, his dilemma unfolds there. Arjuna's dilemma is such. He is now able to be neither a yogi nor a kshatriya. See that? This whole chapter is that. I'm describing the verses and chapter. This whole chapter is about what? Dilemma of Arjuna. He is neither a yogi nor a kshatriya. Now he is not being able to be both. He is called, his one more name is Parantapa, the destroyers of enemies. His another name is Vijaya. I will give you a few names of his, okay? What it means. Parantapa, destroyer of all enemies. Vijaya, the undefeatable warrior. And as Dhananjaya, Dhananjaya means the unconquerable archer, the winner of wealth. Nara, Arjuna, the best among men. He loses his detachment as a yogi. In turn, he loses courage as a kshatriya, a warrior hero. He loses his space of completion and falls into such deep grief that bewilders his mind. Brahma tivacha me manah, and burns his sense coverings. Tvakchaiva paridahyate. He sees his enemies and identifies himself with them. In front of him are his mentors, on the opposite side in the war. His mentors, family and friends, his swajanam, his people. They are his extension, his lineage and his inner identity. He can no longer pretend with his outer identity that he is the ultimate warrior, the kshatriya, who can dispassionately dispatch them to death. What is kshatriya? He is an ultimate warrior who can dispassionately dispatch them to death. That is his outer identity, but he could no longer be that. He could no longer pretend with his outer identity. Arjuna's dilemma is the dilemma of humanity. Understand, your outer identity is different, your inner identity is different. At some point when your dilemma unfolds, you are unable to handle. It is our own dilemma unfolding. So Arjuna's dilemma is the dilemma of humanity. It represents the collective root patterns of humanity. It is an eternal conflict between what we feel as us, what we feel we can actually do. That is our inner identity, mamakara. But what we project as us to others, what we feel we want to actually do, that is our outer identity. And ahankara, what others think and perceive as us, anyakara. And what we think about life and others, or what we perceive as our value systems and beliefs, our swa anyakara. Please listen. You don't have just one identity as you imagine. You have 4 identities. At all times you carry 4 identities or dimensions together. See, your own expectation about you is mamakara or inner image. Your own expectation about you, it is the inner idea and the experience you carry about yourself, like I am healthy, I am ugly, I am intelligent, I cannot tolerate hard work, I love people, etc., etc., etc. But the idea you carry about you is always less than what you project yourself to be for others. Both are different. The second identity, very clearly, all of you who wants to manifest reality, anything you want, wealth or health or relationship or paramashivoham or paramashivatva or sannyas or whatever. These 4 key points, you have to do completion. In these 4 dimensions, completion needs to happen. The second identity is how you show or project yourself to others, called ahankara or outer image. Unfortunately, what you project to others is always more than what you believe yourself to be. That is a constant conflict, confusion, no clarity. The third identity you can carry is the image that others have about you, how others expect you to be, called anyakara or others' image. How others perceive you may be different from how you project yourself to them. You know what? Even though we think something else about ourselves, we project something to others. But here also we get a gap, because whatever we are projecting, it's not necessary people will believe everything of that, is it? So how others perceive you may be different from how you project yourself to them. Because people create their own opinion about you from the subtle signals you give them. See, rather than what you openly projecting, the subtle signals which are happening from inside, what you're radiating, they pick up something from that and they form their own opinion. And they start expecting something else from you. Please understand, humans are intelligent enough to catch even what you don't say, or especially what you don't say. So when others start expecting something from you, we get anxiety and hatred and everything. And the fourth identity is very subtle, because it is not directly related to you. It is how you experience life to be for you and what you expect others to be, called swanyakara or life image. Means you have your own expectations about others. For example, you may feel life is lonely, life is complicated, life is sacred, or life is scary. Some people might be feeling life is confusion. Some people might feel life and people are always showering me with everything. Please understand, this is also your identity. You feeling this way is also your identity, because it defines the exact experience you will be receiving from the people and situations from life. Understand? Please understand. What you feel about life is the way life is going to respond to you. If you are feeling you are lonely, that is the way life is going to respond to you. It's always going to bring you the situations where you're always feeling lonely. If you feel life is complicated, always life is going to bring, it's going to complicate things for you. Even most simplest situation suddenly gets complicated. You don't know why. That's the way it is. If you feel life is scary, you will feel always people are dominating you and making you, putting you in fear. So the identity about life, what you are carrying, this is the exact experience you'll be receiving from the people or situations of life. Please listen. Living in your peak capacity in all the four identities, aligning your life to all the four dimensions, and expressing your peak potential in all these four is authenticity, Shraddha. It is the confusion, the non-alignment between all these identities that is responsible for all our dilemmas, our inauthenticities, our sufferings, everything. What is the only obstruction for this alignment? What is the only hindrance, obstacle for this alignment to happen? Our root thought patterns. Understand? It is confusion, non-alignment between all these above four identities which I spoke about are responsible for all our dilemmas, inauthenticities, our sufferings, our pain, our loans, our debts, our stuck with wealth, everything. So what is the obstacle for this alignment? Our root thought pattern. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat. Sarvam Sadguru Padarpanamastu. Om Nityanandam.